Hi, Leo. Watching, first of all. If you are new to the channel, I would like to say like, share, and subscribe, and definitely comment on the video. I shuffled the cards and sort of like cleared out the energy of the cards from whatever I was doing with them last time. And the Five of Swords came up. Okay, so this is Venus and Aquarius, right? It's a five, so it's related to that Hierophant energy. I'm going to put it back into the deck. And then you got the Nine of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So this is kind of like distancing yourself from people that you may have been familiar with, right? Or this could be distancing yourself from old beliefs, right? Because Aquarius is talking about knowing, right? And change of perspective, right? And also just kind of like differences as well in terms of what we believe and what we understand and what we kind of like want something to be like, right? What are we creating? If it's not aligned with what I'm creating, then it's kind of like, why am I trying to, align myself with that? You know what I mean? Because the fives are really have a lot to do with the experience, right? Your experience, where you come from, right? How you see your experience based on that, and how your experience challenges where you come from. You know what I mean? And it also has to do with like what your reality is and what you know your reality is, and knowing your truth as well. And this is also saying that someone else's truth isn't necessarily going to be your truth with the Five of Swords. You know what I mean? And just because it's not my truth doesn't mean that it's not right. Or just because I can't align myself with your truth doesn't mean that I'm against you. You know what I mean? Because this is the Five of Swords talking about taking the beauty out of a situation that otherwise should be seen as a chance to kind of like gain perspective, you know? Because you have to talk, it's talking about what do we have in common here? What's the common denominator as well, you know? And then, this Nine of Wands right here is the moon in Sagittarius. And the moon is talking about evolution. It's talking about growth. It's talking about patterns as well, and those things that you sort of attach yourself to out of need, right? Because you have to express these different aspects of your personality and your person, right? So sometimes you get an outlet to express these things, and then you're affected by that which you open yourself up to, and then you learn your lesson. So this is talking about learning your lesson in some kind of way, with this moon being in Sagittarius, right? And then it's kind of like distancing yourself from something because you have learned your lesson, right? That's sort of like the effect, right? If this Five of Swords is the cause, then the Nine of Wands is the effect, right? So let me go ahead and put this back in the deck because it just kind of fell out. I'm going to shuffle for you now that I'm talking to you. I am a Leo. My Venus is in Leo, and Venus is my chart ruler because I'm a Libra. So, this might echo to me a little bit, right? Another card fell out, Judgment. I'm just going to leave that out right there. So the Judgment card is talking about letting go. It talks about needing to balance a situation out spiritually, right? The twos also talk about your habits and your patterns that you might be letting go of, things that you may have gotten used to as well, right? Away, because it's fixed. It's Pluto as well. This Ace of Swords at the bottom here during the pre-shuffle, talking about a change of focus. It could also be talking about cutting something. The Judgment card is here as well, talking about transferring, transmitting, transitioning, transpiring, transforming definitely, and transmuting. Right? So you're choosing to let go of something so that you can achieve a sense of self again, or a sense of balance, right? And this is talking about a change of perspective, right? And it's kind of like that, this change of perspective brings freedom for you. And this is kind of like letting, breaking free of something that was controlling you, right? And this is also, if you were trying to understand something, it's like you don't even want to understand it anymore. You just kind of want to like let it go, right? In some way. And then this Judgment card is also talking about, not getting something from a place that you expected that you would get it from. You know what I mean? And then kind of like being disappointed in that, because the Judgment card is a two, and it's talking about expectations as well. You know what I mean? Because we submit ourselves to our own expectations that we have of other people, because we think we get comfortable with that, right? And then when we get comfortable, we sort of start to expect things to happen in certain ways, and it's kind of like actually You don't have any control over how things happen or why something is meant to happen, right? Or what someone else's destiny is, or yours, really. And then this Two of Cups here is talking about the duplication of feeling, right? Or the understanding of feeling. Yeah. The twos are also just weighing things out, communicating feelings. So feelings might have been communicated. Someone's true feelings could have been communicated. I'm going to go ahead and cut it and then lay it out. That type of thing, you know. What else? What was I saying? Okay, Eight of Cups. Wow. So this is Saturn and Pisces. And like Pluto does talk about the past and everything like that. And so does Saturn and Pisces. Because Pisces is that last sign, right? It's a water sign, so it's emotionally affected by its past, right? And then there's an eight, so it's related to the eighth house, right, of Scorpio. So it is talking about transformation. It is talking about letting go, but it's also talking about healing. So you might be healing from something right now, and it's a very powerful stage that you're in of healing, right? Because you are, it's kind of like showing you, right, that in with time, how things have transpired, what you're feeling intuitively, what your subconscious might be telling you that you might be fearful of is actually really something, because it's Saturn and it's an eight, and the eights are talking about things that are real, and it's related to the Strength card. So it's talking about emotional ups and downs, you know what I mean? And also just kind of like being very like a piece of metal and you bend it so much, then over time it's just gonna break, you know what I mean? Or this is also talking about the erosion of the feeling, right? The feeling has eroded because it's talking about Saturn, decay, time, the breaking down, the eight transformation. You have Pluto here as well. And it is also just saying like there is time to move on from something. I cut the deck. Okay. Now, usually when I'm doing these readings, I'm like, and then I have to go teach. And I've been wanting to do this Leo reading for a while. And I've just been so tired lately. How have you guys been feeling? Have you been really tired? You know, I feel like I have. I feel like people that I know have, right? So let me flip over the center card. Wow, this is the sun. And your full moon is coming up in like a couple of days, right? And the sun is talking about positivity, right? It's talking about vitality. It also is talking about transformative energy of regeneration, restorative. It's creativity as well. This 19 is a 10, right? When we reduce it down. So it's talking about cycles completing, cycles beginning. It's talking about opportunities to recommit yourself to yourself, right? Because it's very personal, this sun card. It's talking about energy. It's talking about saving your energy as well, so keeping your energy for those things that are going to put positivity back into you, because clearly you're dealing with something with the Judgment card here. And this could even just stem from like a long time ago, because the Judgment card is talking about emotional triggers too, because it's kind of like we allow things to lie dormant for sometimes, and it's not even like we're allowing it, it's just dormant. You know what I mean? So then sometimes when it comes to the surface, then we have to deal with it. But the Sun card is very positive for you, and we have that full moon coming up. Wow, and the High Priestess is crossing you, which is Pisces energy, and it's a two, so it's just referring back to this Judgment card here, which is amazing. The High Priestess card is talking about emotional sensitivities and things being revealed through those emotional sensitivities, a heightened sense of awareness as well. It talks about emotional cleansing and emotional depth, but then it also is talking about creativity. There's that reiteration of that, okay? You have the High Priestess, which is, like Neptune energy, and it's also, Jupiter energy too, because going from one place to the other, right, from one reality into the next. And that's what this is saying. You're going from one reality into the next, even if it's in your spirit, right? Even if like the surrounding things aren't changing, like in your physical world, something has changed inside of you, right? And it's kind of like changed forever. Okay, just because the sun is here and the high priestess is crossing it, and then you have the Judgment card, which is a two that's referring back to the high priestess, and you have three cards here that sort of like allude to that Piscean energy, high priestess and the Eight of Cups. So in your past, you have the Knight of Cups here, and this is Pisces energy again. This is just kind of like the fluctuation, the changes of emotions that are happening. The past has to do with some person, perhaps, that is of a water quality, and they have a little bit of that airiness as well. So it could be like a little bit detached in the mind or in the communication, right? But the feeling is there. Also, the Knight of Cups is talking about going from one reality into the next. So in the past, there might have been some travel, or there might have been like a change of feeling, right? Because there is an intimidation factor in terms of the feeling, right? And the moving on emotionally. So this talks about moving on emotionally or coping with something that, was challenging you in your mind. Okay. In your sun position, you have the star card. So this is Aquarius, and this is really good because the star card is talking about healing, and it's talking about balancing your chakras, right? It's also talking about confidence. It's an eight, so it's related to the eighth house of Scorpio, transformation and power. But the star card does talk about what we absorb. Mercury is exalted in Aquarius, and the sun is there right now. Okay, and it's just bringing focus to what it is that you need to do to put back into your own, to yourself, because the eighth house is talking about yourself. How does your environment affect you? What can you do to sort of like monitor that, right? All of those things that are going on around you. um, and it's also just kind of like taking off all of those things that really have nothing to do with you. That's what the star card is talking about, and that's why she's naked here as well. Okay, it that they right. So it does talk about spiritual cleansing, and it does talk about the power of that, the power of meditation. You have to clear your mind as well, because you might have a lot of things going on. You just got to calm yourself, and creativity is going to be a part of that, or just kind of like putting something, you know um, doing things that seem sort of trivial or frivolous to you, or maybe even kind of like juvenile, that have to do with creativity, like drawing, coloring, listening to music, or like making things with your hands, or, just cleaning or making things beautiful, or any of that, reading, writing, all of that stuff. Has to do with sort of like creativity, and it's restorative as well, because you're putting energy back into you. You're feeding yourself. It's not like you're giving back to other people. In your moon position, you have the Three of Swords. This is talking about karmic relationships, and this is talking about the responsibility and the accountability factor, right? And this is definitely the understanding of what time has taught you, right, about your relationships, and it kind of is also kind of allowing you to see through a window of, you know, practicalities, right? Or just you have to think practically about what has happened and what is going on. The threes are related to the queens as well, because it's the empress that rules the queen. So this is talking about the truth, understanding the truth, what that means for you. And this is saying that now that you know the truth, right? And now that you are, yeah, now that you know the truth, what are you going to do about it? Right? That's basically what that means. Because it's cardinal energy, and it's talking about initiating things. And then Saturn is, just saying like, you've been alerted to this over and over and over again, because the threes are talking about over and over and over again, right? Being able to do something over and over again, like the Empress, she can create over and over again. But this is kind of like, going over and over again in your mind, right? But you've also the information is there, so you know what you need to do. Okay, that's what that's talking about. And it could have something to do with siblings, yes, and it could have something to do with children, but then it also has something to do with like the optimism has been a little the optimism has decayed, right? Because the threes are talking about optimism, because that's Gemini energy, right? Okay. So let me go ahead and flip over the anxieties. Okay, the anxieties or the disappointments, right? It has to do with, a shared experience, because it's the Two of Wands. Okay, a shared experience. is what you've been thinking about, right? What to do. You're thinking about what to do. You might be experiencing some sort of like inner conflict because the twos are talking about an inner conflict. And then it's related to the high priestess here as well and the judgment card. So you feel like you've been changed, and the fact that you've been changed has kind of like made you, you're looking at parts of yourself that you may have given up throughout your changes that have happened. And it's kind of like you want to reconnect to those things, but it's kind of like now you have to, like, you know, actually activate it, or kind of like reintroduce yourself to yourself almost. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like why the sun is here, right? And that's why the star card is here, which is opposite the sun energy. That's that Leo Aquarius energy again. And then the judgment card here is talking about opposition. So it's the two of wands and the high priestess. So it's kind of like the way that you feel inside has changed, right? It's like you still know the same people, right? And some people you may know, but you just don't fool with anymore, because that's why this Saturn and Libra is here in the moon. Where you've evolved, you've changed, right? This is definitely talking about how your relationships have changed you, how your idea of how your feelings have also just kind of like, I don't know, changed you. Anyway, let me stop talking about that. The two of wands is cooperation, right? You have to cooperate with yourself in order for things to work. You know what I mean? It's easier for you to cooperate with yourself than it is to cooperate with other people. It should be. You know what I mean? So don't make it difficult, and don't fear the fact that now you're going to have to go inward and start doing things for yourself again, and not for someone else, right? With this too, or not, hey, what's up? And it's like, making plans, right? That's what this too is. It's kind of like you just don't, the way that you feel might be affecting your boldness to make plans or make sense of what it is that you want, because this is Mars and Aries, so it's talking about what you want, but then it's also talking about being considerate about, like, it's like, what are you worried about? It's like, I don't know what it is, you know what I mean? And it's kind of psychic too. You know what you need to do, and you know what you want to do. So if what you need to do and what you want to do is the same thing, why isn't it happening, right? Let's look at the Mars position. Damn, you are getting just wow. Okay, you have the Justice card in the Mars position. So this is talking about, understanding right from wrong, doing what's right, you know? And then it's also talking about being fair to yourself and being fair to other people, you know? This Justice card is very interesting because it's Libra energy, right? But it's an 11, so it's 11th house energy of Aquarius. So this is talking about a change in perspective. You know what I mean? What's justified? What action has been justified, right? Because it's in the Mars position, that's talking about action, and what kind of action has been justified, right? And this Justice card is directly related to the way that you've been feeling and the way that your feelings have evolved in terms of what you now know and understand and what you need based off of what you know and understand in the moon position. So it's saying something is being cut, communication is being cut. The Justice card is kind of like a very definitive energy, you know what I mean? Because it's like black and white, right? Right and wrong, right? It's right and wrong. Sometimes it really is black and white. It really is right and wrong. It really is you or me, right? I have to make a decision. That's what this Justice card is saying. And the decision I'm making is like right here in the Venus position, which is the Nine of Wands. And this is talking about distancing myself from something, right? That triggers me emotionally, for sure. It's a nine that's related to Sagittarius, which is talking about, um, knowledge, right? And I'm applying my knowledge, right? It's not like me being stuck in my feelings like a Scorpio would probably be. It's like I'm not going to be stuck in those feelings. This is showing me that I need to move on or move, right? Because this is a nine too. And the nines are related to the moon card, you know? And you got the high priestess here. That's Sagittarius, or sorry, that's Pisces energy, which is Neptune, Jupiter. This right here is Neptune, Jupiter. But then it's like the moon being in a sign, right? In which the planet that rules that sign is exalted in the sign that the moon rules. So there's some positivity here. I mean, there's positivity in everything, even in the Three of Swords I live. But the Nine of Wands is talking about work. I'm checking the time. But the Nine of Wands is just talking about, how have I changed? Because it's a moon. And that is very much talking about you. And the Sagittarius energy changes, right? What are my goals now? My goals are different than they used to be, right? And also the way that my emotions have been affected has changed what my goals are now, right? Definitely. Over time, you're a different person, And this moon in Sagittarius, that energy talks about how you have been influenced to change, right? And it's not like somebody telling you, you need to do this and change. And you're like, okay, no, I'm doing that. It's like you being like, damn, I went through some stuff and I just feel different now. You know what I mean? It's like, ain't nobody told you nothing except for you and your spirit and your energy and everything. So it really is talking about your experience and what you've gone through. And now that, you're in a different stage, right? Or you're getting ready to complete a stage. Right now, it talks about being in two different places, right? Because you got a lot of twos here. You're kind of stuck in between. And the star card is saying that you need to bring focus, right? It's in the sun position to kind of like realizing where you are now, right? And how where you're going, because you have a lot of cards talking about where you're going. Hierophant in the outcome energy moving forward, which is going back to that five that we saw earlier in the reading. What did we see? Did we see a five somewhere? Maybe I was just talking about it. I don't know. Maybe it was in the pre-shuffle. We'll have to go back and look. But the Hierophant is talking about, yeah, it's fixed, right? So the Hierophant doesn't really kind of like want things to change. It talks about tradition, and it talks about, commonalities, right? Rules, things like that. But my own personal rules, what I will put up with, what I choose to believe, right? That type of thing. And the moon is in that card as well. But it's also kind of related to like your identity and who I am. And it talks about knowing where you come from, but then also knowing who you are. And if you know who you are, then you can determine where you're going, right? But the Hierophant, it talks about conflict that we experience when things change that we necessarily think ever would, like ourselves. And that's where the challenge is with the Hierophant. Am I going to get into to realizing that I actually have changed, or am I going to stick to the old way, my habits, right? You know, your habits are changing as well. Okay, and everything has, like it's a place. Everything has its reason. Everything has a season. Everything has like, a purpose. And it's talking about, if we just kind of like, if we were just kind of like grazing like cows, then we would definitely not know the meaning of anything. We wouldn't even try to like find out the meaning of anything. We wouldn't give life as much value if we lived like cows and we were just grazing and eating grass. We wouldn't know anything. We would just know that we just right here eating this grass and we fine. Where's the magic in that? You know? So don't do things the way that you've always done them, because then you're never going to be able to like, you know, reassess your new value, or claim the new value that you have assessed yourself to now have, right? King of Cups in the future position. This is talking about a mature perspective in terms of what how you feel, and how you let your feelings guide you in a meaningful way, in a powerful way, because it's Scorpio. It's also a little bit of Libra, right? And which is giving you that perspective. You're like, wow, I realize now that the way that I feel either is going to control me, or it's going to allow me to really like be who I know I am, regardless of what I've gone through, right? And that kind of is like the King of Cups. Your relationship, right? Your relationships change you. That's why Scorpio comes in after Libra, right? And it's like, wow, how have the relationships changed you? You know a little bit more about your world and yourself, you know? So you're more mature. And then this, wow, I knew this was gonna come up. Mixed signals, miscommunication. Have clear communication if they're, I feel like some of you have been communicating very clearly, And it's like the ball is in someone's court. I even feel like that too as a Venus and Leo person. But it's kind of like I'm making decisions, right? I'm choosing, who am I choosing? It's either you or me, this or that. And this too is talking about, as above, so below. I know that I have to make a choice. I know that I have to make a decision. And it's also kind of like, um, you know, responsibility and making your own choices and making your own decisions, right? But this is also talking about how you've evolved, right? How you think has changed. It's actually kind of even asking, what do I think? And how do I feel about what I think? Or what do I think about how I feel? And so then it's like, oh, what do I think about how I feel? And then you make a decision to determine what you think about how you feel. But it's like, what do I think and how do I feel? It's all of those things. So determine that, and then you'll know what to do. You know what I mean? And this is Moon in Libra, right? So this is talking about, how your feelings are like, you might be flip flopping on your feelings, or maybe somebody that you're involved with in an intimate way, with, in terms of relationship, or somebody that you're getting to know or hanging out with, or something like that. Or maybe you're trying to, you know, um, reach out to someone, or maybe someone's trying to reach out to you and get your attention and you're ignoring it, because this is talking about ignoring something as well. Maybe somebody feels ignored too, because this Two of Swords is very much that. Because Libra can be detached, right? And it's an 11, which is talking about, Aquarius energy. And it's also, the Roman numeral, the symbol too, which is like Gemini. And that's sort of being detached, right? But yeah, this is kind of like just needing to choose, make decisions for yourself. Determine what it is for yourself, right? Don't look to others to make your decisions for you. It's up to you, right? And it's also talking about where are you going with these decisions that you're making, right? What does it define? Because the twos are talking about something being defined, right? A little bit more because it's a duplication, right? Folding something, right? It's going from one place to the other. Oh, so if this is this, then that's that, right? Okay, Leo, I think that I'm going to leave you there. I don't really have any more cards here to pull, any bonus or anything like that. And this is pretty good. You got the Sun, you got the Star card, you got the High Priestess, you got the Justice card, the Hierophant, and the Judgment card. So, wow. Definitely like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. I'm Providence Tarot there. And I'm also NYC Kendrick. That's my personal account. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. I might be doing a Valentine's Day special, and that'll probably be for the last 2 weeks of February, and that will be a just relationship and love stuff. Okay, so I have some spreads that are relationship and love spreads that I will use for those. Like the video for sure, and comment. Um, yeah, there's a lot going on here, but you're coming out of something, and you're just trying to clear your energy, recalibrate, right? Definitely transformative, changing, something changing forever, right? An aspect of you, right? Because it doesn't have to be like, and now I'm blonde and I'm like, Asian or white. No, you're not changing anything like that. But there is a very spiritual shape shift that's happening. Okay, bye, Leo.